Residents in Kyiv will be offered safe passage to Russia's ally Belarus, while those in Kharkiv will have a corridor leading only to Russia itself. Now, it comes after two ceasefire attempts in the southern port city of Mariupol collapsed at the weekend. We have more in this report.
Ukraine says rocket attacks have continued on residential areas in several cities, warning of an all-out assault on the capital, Kyiv. President Volodymyr Zelensky has also accused Russia of murdering civilians as oil prices have soared to a 13-year high due to the crisis.
Sounds good. Well, I look forward to visiting once things will...
Mr. Zelensky has also requested that Israel serve as intermediary, citing the government's good relations with both Kyiv and Moscow. In response, Israeli Prime Minister Naftali Bennett says Israel will continue to try to mediate between Russia and Ukraine, even if success seems unlikely, after he spoke about the situation in Ukraine with Russian President Vladimir Putin. Mr. Bennett's office also says he has spoken 3 times over the weekend with Ukrainian President Mr. Zelensky.
בוקר טוב, חזרתי לפני כמה שעות ממוסקבה ומברלין. נסעתי לשם במטרה לסייע בהידברות בין כל...
As the Russia's war on Ukraine rages on its second week, civilians are fleeing the clashes in the northern Irpin city. 4 people, including the mother and 2 children, were killed in a mortar fire as residents fled the city near Kyiv. Located on the Irpin River near the capital Kyiv, Irpin is one of the regions where clashes between Russian and Ukrainian forces are underway. The latest footage from the region showed that masses with their belongings and pets were rushing to leave the city. For the exit, they were trying to cross the bridge, which was blown up by Ukrainian soldiers to prevent Russian troops' entry into the city. In the meantime, Commissioner of the United Nations High Commission for Refugees, Filippo Grandi, spoke with journalists at the Ukraine-Poland border. Mr. Grandi announced that more than 1.5 million Ukrainians have left their country so far. According to figures from the United Nations, at least 331 civilians have been killed and 675 injured in Ukraine since the beginning of the war.
What is needed really is a ceasefire, is the end of hostilities, because that's the only way to stop this tragedy.
About what our response should be.
In the meantime, Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison says Beijing should use growing power to denounce Russia's invasion of Ukraine and join in sanctioning Moscow. Mr. Morrison says he is concerned that China will become an economic lifeline to Russia, noting Beijing's rhetoric on the conflict has been passive so far.
But few strategies survive contact with the enemy, as the Defence Force generals will tell you. And I think that has been lived out in a very candid way in Ukraine.
More than 1.3 million people have fled Ukraine to neighboring countries, according to the United Nations Refugee Agency.